I don't care if I haven't eaten in 3 days. I don't really care if I have bills to pay. Heck, I don't even care if I have alimony payments. I am absolutely never, ever getting rid of this camera. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you why that is and why you shouldn't either. So good to be seen, and it's even better to see what's going on. Welcome back to yet another video. In today's episode, we are talking all about the X100 series of cameras, regardless of which model you own, and why you should keep them until your dying breath. If you're new to the channel, my name is Francis, destination wedding photographer based out of sunny San Juan, Puerto Rico, Aftershoot, Violet May, and soon to be Zoom Print Lab ambassador as well. I'm very excited about that one. Links to all that good stuff will be down in the description. So in the event you haven't seen any one of my videos about this camera, I will give you the short version of how I actually got my hands on it. While manning the booth at the Portrait Masters Convention in Phoenix, Arizona about a year and a half ago, I stumbled across another booth that was owned by Brian, the president of Camera Exchange. And he was kind enough to tell me that he was expecting between 3 to 4 units to be shipped to Michigan, where he is from, and I was smart enough to whip out my card right then and there, buy one at MSRP without any tax, and he was kind enough to have it shipped to New York. By the time I got back to New York, it was already waiting for me, and it has been absolute love at first sight ever since. So having said that, I want to dive right into the reasons why I think you should hold on to your X100 series of cameras, regardless if it's the original, the S, the T, the F, this V, or the 6 that recently was announced. So reason number one is because of the recently acquired cult classic following that it has had as a result of having gone popular for a second time. We all know this came out in 2020, at least my version, and because of the viral TikTok, it has been absolutely scarce, regardless if it's actually still the V or the 6, and my apologies if you still haven't received your 6. That's obviously Exhibit 8 in my case in point here, but the fact of the matter is, every time that I see a fellow Fuji X100 shooter out in the open, it sort of makes for a wonderful and creative conversation. Obviously, we know of the film recipes and simulations. We know that a lot of people use this to take pictures of street photography, as well as take it on the road when they are traveling. And it's just an honestly conversation sparker, if I can, call it anything. Every time I have a conversation with somebody who owns this kind of camera, the conversation is just more minimal, it's friendly, and it's inviting and incentivizes creativity and artistry. And, it sparks questions like, so how do you use this? How long have you had it? And this isn't to say that you can't have this kind of conversation with any other person shooting Canon or Nikon or Sony, but when it comes to this camera in particular, there's something special about it. There's something special about the manufacturing and the purpose for which it was intended. And so every time I have a conversation with somebody who has this exact model or one like it, it just hits different. And it's very pleasant conversation to have, especially as a photographer and as an artist. The second reason why I think you are going to be inevitably holding on to this camera for a very long time is because of the build quality. Now, this isn't a plastic point and shoot from the 2000s. This is actually really robust, well-made, full metal build, and it has a knife heft to it. In the event you unfortunately drop this camera, it looks like it can take a pinch, and it probably can, especially if you accessorize the ways I have. More on that a little bit later, but this is a full metal build. At the very worst, it will probably get scratched. I hope it never happens, but until you actually own one and hold it in your hand, at least at B&H or Adorama or whatever, you're going to realize exactly what I'm saying. Even though it is a small, compact digital point and shoot, if you will, this is really robust. It's got a nice heft to it, and it's not until you actually have it in your hand that you realize what I'm trying to tell you. Number 3 is perhaps sort of like an extension of it, and in the sense that because I don't recommend this as a workhorse camera, because of the fact that it has one card slot, this means that the internals are not going to suffer a lot of wear and tear. You and I both know that if you own one or you are looking to purchase any sort of X100 series cameras, they are going to be more fun / street / travel photography, and therefore the frequency with which you shoot it is not going to put a lot of wear and tear in the internals of this camera. The shutter isn't going to ever probably give up on you, and as a result, it is also going to be inevitably lasting you a really, really long time. Having mentioned the fact that this might not be considered a workhorse camera, to me, reason number 4 is the fact that it is a fun memory maker. Now, as soon as this camera was announced and it caught my attention, it piqued my curiosity. I knew for a fact that I was never going to put it through the ringer and test the specs and make it a part of my everyday work community. I know for a fact that as soon as I purchased this card and I had it in my hands in New York, it was going to be my travel / straight photography / memory making camera. I do bring this out almost everywhere I go. I don't normally use it every single day, so it's not like I'm contradicting myself on the aforementioned talking points, but fact of the matter is, this is how I document my friends, my family, behind the scenes of my content creation, and I'm having so much fun literally with this camera that I have set aside a entirely different Instagram account. I will link it below if you want to check it out. This is basically how I make memories, how I document my life. Every time I think about, a special moment in my life or something that I want to have fun memories of, this is the camera that I gravitate to because of how fun it is. The film recipes and film simulations, you can always dial those into your heart's content. And lately I've been gravitating towards a grainy black and white image with Acros profile picture. And it's just so fun to use. And I know for the fact this is going to transcend time in terms of being relevant from here to kingdom come. You're going to have fun with this camera, whether it's 2024 or 2034. This is something that doesn't go out of style, and paired with the retro design, it's always going to be trendy. It's always going to be fun to carry around, and that is why I also recommend this as a memory maker. And following with the trend of one thing leading to another thing that makes this camera fun and probably going to be in your hands for the foreseeable future is the fact that you can accessorize it to your heart's content. Now, I've added a couple of neat things that make it even more fun experiences for me every time I take it out and about, and I want to showcase some of those right now. First and foremost is the added thumb grip. Now, this is probably going to be dual purpose item in the sense that it makes it a way more comfortable experience in my hand. At the same time, it gives me the added peace of mind that this thing is probably not going to slip out of my hand. More to that point, the second accessory I want to bring to your attention for additional peace of mind is the Peak Design micro clutch that I have also added every time I go take street photography in Old San Juan or something like this. This is something that attaches to the very bottom of the camera, and you slip through your middle and ring fingers for an additional stability. I'll show you here in a second. But those two things definitely give me more peace of mind that I'm never ever going to, unfortunately, drop this camera anytime soon. The third thing that I do want to bring to your attention, and it's actually a very small purchase but makes a big difference for me, is the shutter button that you can easily screw onto the top of the camera and make for a more pleasant, I want to say, shooting experience as well. Since I come from a sort of video background, I'm drawn to cinematography, which is why I also popped for a Moment Cinebloom diffusion filter. This one is heightened to 20% because I really, really like to bloom the highlights, especially at night, and get that cinematic look straight out of camera. So that is something that I have bought. And last but not least, and this is perhaps purely for aesthetic purposes because I don't really see it blocking a lot of light, is this little lens hood from Hoagie, as I like to call it, square, because I do like that retro design as opposed to the more bulky round version. So now those are the things that I've added in order to make my shooting experience a little bit better and incentivize me to hang on to this camera a little bit more. And last but not least, I do have an honorable mention, and that is that I am considering the small rig grip for this camera in order to do away with the micro clutch whenever I am shooting street photography. Now, this isn't to say that I will never not use the micro clutch anymore, but having a small rig grip on this will definitely come in handy because I'm a pretty big dude with pretty big hands. And so having a small camera like this in my hand can eventually get a little bit taxing on the fingers if I have to press them. So I'm highly considering doing the small grip and adding it to this X100V of mine that I absolutely love. So there you have it. Those are the reasons why I think you as an X100 owner or possible owner should hang on to this camera if you have one or if you are going to be getting one sometime soon. If you got a little value out of this video, stick that thumb you know where. And if you want to watch more camera reviews videos like this one, stick around by subscribing. I would love to have you. My name is Francis. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you tomorrow.